Coach Doug coming to you live from beautiful San Marcos, Texas with your Claws Out podcast. We're going to have some interviews this morning with Coach Big Mike of the Akron Zips. And we're also going to talk to Rex Tyson of the Buffalo Bulls. First, we got on the line Coach Big Mike. Good morning, Coach Mike. How are you doing?
Hey, we're doing wonderful here in Ohio, man. We're looking forward to getting this rivalry game back.
It's a big game today between you and Buffalo. Top 10 offense in the Buffalo Bulls versus a top 5 offense in your Akron Zips. Tell us about who you think is going to win today, offense or defense, or do you think it's just going to be a battle from start to finish, snap to snap?
I'm going to say if we have a chance, Larry, it's got to be our defensive scheme. It has to be on point. We don't have the speed. To be honest, we don't have the talent to keep up with Buffalo. He recruited well, transfer portal well, but one thing we do have is heart. And I said that last season with Stanford, and I believe it to be true with my Akron Zips also.
And he's got a pretty balanced attack between passing and rushing, averaging 508 yards of offense a game, 310 of that are passing, and the other almost 200 of that are rushing. Do you have to focus on one or the other, or do you have to have your players ready to play at both levels of the ball?
It's definitely both. I know the head coach over there, it's pick your poison. So we're just going to go in there and try to stop everything. That's our game plan. Whatever he's trying to do, we're looking to stop it. That's for sure. If we'll see how that goes.
His defense giving up 295 yards a game, but yours only 215, which is good for fourth in the nation, and only two people right in front of you at about 209 and 204. So you're right there with the top defenses in the nation. Tell us about how your team has been able to hold teams to only 12.7 points a game this season.
I think it starts up front. We have a few guys on our line. Green, a junior tackle. We also have a couple edge rushers who we really like. Brown, Dexter Brown, one of the top tackle for loss guys. And other than that, I think when you go back to our secondary, it's all about scheme. Our defensive backs coach has a really good scheme back there, puts guys in the right position to make plays.
Both of you come in with a decent pass rush. You're averaging 3 sacks a game. He's averaging 3.5. How important is it for your offensive line to handle his defensive front?
It's big. The size difference, I'm sure is big. But we, we brought offensive line coach from Stanford here. He knows how to scheme it up, put guys in the right run fits. And, again, like the question you asked earlier, when it comes to running or passing, we're going to do the same. If we have to pass the ball to our halfback 27 times, we're going to do so. Whatever it takes to win, whatever he gives us, we're going to take.
Okay, now let's switch gears a little bit. I want to talk about third down conversions. Both of y'all lead the MAC. You with 61% and him with 60%. Third downs, you've got to get off the field and you've got to stay on the field. So how important, which is going to be the most important for you, offensively or defensively on third down conversions? Or do you feel like you're going to have to win both the whole game to make it happen?
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say offensively. I think we're going to have to score. And when you put a team into fourth down decisions, that's when games are won or lost. I think, if you're nervous, we have a freshman quarterback. He's been great, but you put him in a 4th and 2, looks easy, that's when mistakes happen. So I believe third downs on offense are a little more important. I think defensively, we feel we want to make you drive the field, and mistakes are bound to happen. He has a freshman quarterback also, so we'll take that route.
Now, that being said, I'm glad you said that because I'm fixing to throw some stats everybody's way that is going to blow everybody's mind. Akron is tied for second in the nation in red zone efficiency, 14 attempts, 12 touchdowns, 1 field goal, 85%. If your offense gets in the red zone, the Buffalo Bulls had better watch out.
Hey, we have a good scheme down there. We feel comfortable, and I think we have two senior running backs that can catch, that can run, and if he focuses on them, we have a tight end who leads our team in receptions, I believe, who's going to be wide open. So we feel confident down there. We have a good scheme. Like I said, the same type of stuff we ran at Stanford we're doing here in Akron. It's a little colder, but it works to our advantage.
So looking at your quarterback, he's averaging just about 250 yards a game, which is one of the top quarterbacks, along with Buffalo's quarterback in the MAC. Only the one interception, I believe, 8 touchdowns, almost 3 touchdowns a game. If he's solid, I feel like you can win it. You spread the ball around real well. You've got 5 guys with at least 10 receptions. Tell us about your quarterback and what his mindset has to be going into this big game.
Well, it's just what he did. You talked about it. 8 touchdowns to 1 interception. And he also had a game where and all of his rushing yards came in one game. He exploded. We took advantage. I think it was in the Michigan State game, I believe, maybe. But just turnover-free football. And I know a lot of coaches say that, but it's super big in this game. When you're having an opponent who has the talent advantage, we have talent on offense, don't get me wrong, but you make one turnover, I think that's the difference of the game. I think if we have to have 0 on the stat line. If there's 0 turnovers, I believe we can win also.
Manage the game and play defense. That is a recipe for success because defense wins championships. Coach, we wish you the best of luck today. If you could give us one offensive and one defensive player that you think are going to have to stand out for you today, that are going to have to be the most effective, who would you say your key players are today?
All right. Well, on that, I say definitely Jalen Glover, my halfback. He can run and catch, and we will need him to do both. I think defensively, I think it goes down to Andrew Harris, our Mike linebacker. He's a senior, a lot of speed. I believe if he's making plays, maybe he can get a turnover, but those are the keys. And I think those are, our team leaders on both sides of the ball.
All right, Coach. Well, I appreciate your time, and we wish you the best of luck today.
All right, I appreciate it, Larry, and go Zips.
We'll catch up with you, sir.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. That was Coach Big Mike of the Akron Zips. We got our next caller on the phone, the Buffalo coach, Rex Tyson, and we'll get him on the line right about now.
So we got a few different, little wrinkles we're going to throw on there to try and keep him off balance, but we know that, he's going to be well prepared.
So what's going to be more important today, your running game or your passing game?
Well, our plan is to, make everything look the same and just try and keep him off balance. We know that, again, like the scheme that he's going to have on defensively is going to be good. So if we can try and put him in position to think we're doing one thing and do the opposite, that's where we're going to get our athletes in space. And, that's really what's led us to one of the best offenses in the game right now.
Peyton Lewis, your running back, All-American, averaging 102.3 rushing yards a game, like 50 receiving yards in a game. Responsible for 6 touchdowns this season. How are you going to factor him in your game today?
Our plan is to, move him around a little bit around the formation. And, again, he's one of the best athletes in the country, so we're going to get him in space and let him go to work. Our goal on offense, we love our air raid system up here in Buffalo. We, just add a little bit of toughness to it. So from there, we're just trying to get down the field as fast as possible, score a touchdown, and then, get on defense and let our guys go to work.
And your quarterback, Bryce Baker, extremely cautious with the football, only thrown one interception on the season. What does his mindset have to be today going up against one of the top defenses in the nation?
Again, we've been preaching it to him all season long since he came over through the transfer portals that we got to take care of the football. If we don't take care of the football, we're just hurting everybody else on the team. And Bryce, he's a really team player, so he understands that he's got to take care of the football, and he's got to level everybody out, make sure everybody's composed, and then get our athletes in space, and just let him work so that way it takes a little bit off of his plate because he is just a freshman redshirt, and he's done a really good job coming over learning the offense, but there's still that next level we're trying to work with him and help elevate his game, and ultimately the goal is to get him to the next level.
And people cannot overlook your defense. They are giving up 295 yards a game, but only allowing 15.3 points a game because your defense stands tall when it matters. Only allowing 40% in red zone efficiency defensively. That's great numbers for any team. How are you feeling about your red zone defense versus Akron's red zone offense? Because they have top two in the country in red zone offense.
Our defensive coordinator has done a really good job with our boys, and the motto always is, hey, we might bend a little, but we're not gonna break. We're gonna make them fight for everything that they're gonna get, and when things get condensed in the red zone, that's where our boys come out to play. That's where they get a little bit more fire. That's where they get a little bit extra, and it's really carried us all season long, and hopefully it'll carry us through this matchup because, like you said, he's got one of the best red zone offenses, so something's got to give in this matchup.
Definitely scheming points when they get into the red zone and definitely scheming on defense. In the SEC, they always talk about the battles won up front in the trenches. Do you feel like that is going to play a factor in the game today in the Akron versus Buffalo rivalry game?
Well, I mean, in the years past in the Canal Clash, that trench battle's always been kind of the tilting factor per se. So I assume it'll be the tilting factor again here in our matchup. But we're gonna see what we got, and we're gonna go from there. If we gotta end up building back a little bit stronger in the off season, we're gonna do that. But this will be a good test, especially with one of the best coaches in the nation. Coach Big Mike coming over to Akron to help lead that program. And you can already really see the effect that he's had. Akron kind of middle to low end pre-coach Big Mike, and now they're top of the division. We knew that coming over, they were going to be a big test for us.
You're also one of the top teams in the nation in first downs in a game, averaging 26 and a half first downs in a game. Those great numbers. Your third down conversions is also one of the best in the MAC, along with Akron at 60%. How important do you feel it's going to be to stay on the field on offense on third down conversions and get off the field on defense on third down conversions?
Biggest thing we preach, preseason and in spring ball is that we got to stay ahead of the change. It doesn't matter what level of football you're playing, Pee Wee, modified JV, varsity, college, NFL. Like, we got to stay ahead of the change, especially with a young quarterback, learning a new system. If we don't stay ahead of the change, it's going to make life difficult, on our play callers, on our players, on the entire organization. So we're going to try and get some early yards early and, give our guys some chance. And if, we got a second and short, we might take a shot, and, we're going to go from there.
So are there any players that you would say might surprise us today on offense or defense in this game?
Well, I mean, we got what we got, being a small program, we got Bryce Baker, we got Lewis, coming out of the backfield, and then, we're going to look for some opportunities in our, 2 and 3 wide receiver, possibly get a sub in as far as a fourth to see if we might be able to break the game open, and guys are a little bit tired, but, ultimately, big players got to make big plays in big time situations, so, we're going to let our guys play and, hopefully get them in good spots to be successful.
In my mind, Coach, I think that if Ian Jeffries, your defensive tackle, has a huge game for you today, that can make a big difference. He can be somebody who does something special that nobody's expecting to. He has 14 tackles on the season, but 5 are tackles for loss and 3.5 sacks. And I think he could do something, wreak havoc up front. That could be a name to watch out for. As well as your leading tackler, Oliver Bridges, the cornerback, who has 17 tackles. And Ronell Davis, the free safety, with 20. They can have big backs today, too. And Bridges has an interception on the season. So you've got some players who can go out there and play. We wish you the best of luck. We know it's going to be a matchup one way or the other. It's going to be all about adjustments and who can make the better adjustments. It's not always about the Jimmies and the Joes. Sometimes it's about the X's and the O's.
Well, hey, man, you said it. We're going to hopefully get a big play out of our, it hasn't come yet this year. We're hopefully going to get a big play out of our linebacker group. All spring ball, all preseason, they were great at creating turnovers, and hopefully we're going to be able to get one of those today in a big situation.
All right, Coach. Really appreciate it. I wish you the best of luck today. And we'll be talking to you soon, all right?
Sounds good. Go Buffaloes.
All right. Good luck, Coach.
Sounds good.
All right, that was Coach Rex Tyson on the line, and we already talked to Coach Mike, and I didn't break it down when I talked to Coach Mike, so we're going to do it now. But players that I think you should watch out for in his team that can make a difference today, as he talked about his tight end, but I'm going to tell you right now, sophomore wide receiver Marcel Williams, 10 receptions, 180 yards on the season. He has no touchdowns, but the kid does not drop balls. He's caught everything thrown his way. Watch out for him today to make a difference. It could be really interesting there. When we go to the defensive side of the ball, he talked about his linebacker. But I want to talk again about in the trenches, edge rusher Dex Trell Brown, the brick house, 11 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks. Dude also has an interception. Do not overlook Dextrell Brown. They better double team him today. Those are my picks for some guys you may not be thinking about to make a difference in this game. And like always, this your boy Coach Dub. And until next time, I'm signing off.